This is definitely a must-watch martial arts masterpiece of 2025. It shares the same universe as Absolute Sword Sense and Nanomachine. Billions of nanomachine from the future are injected into a man's body, starting his path to becoming an invincible god. Just because I'm the illegitimate son of the demon cult leader and a maid, I'm eligible to be an heir. So, even though I don't know martial arts, the other heirs sent an assassin squad to kill me. Backed into a corner, I still managed to kill one of them. That was something they never expected. But this act led to a much more painful beating from the others. Just as I was dying from my injuries, the upper body of the man stepping on me suddenly exploded. A man in strange clothes appeared out of thin air. In an instant, he wiped out all the enemies. He seemed unable to stay here for long. Calling me ancestor affectionately, he injected an unknown liquid into my neck. He begged me, his ancestor, to succeed, so he could benefit from my success. After saying that, he vanished on the spot. This is the world of the martial arts. There are righteous sects that fight for justice, unorthodox sects that defy tradition, and the demonic path that seeks power and total domination. The next day, I woke up in bed. My whole body was sticky and smelled terrible. A voice calling itself the Sky Corporation 7th generation nanomachines rang in my ear. It was the one that repaired my body completely. A massive amount of information flooded my mind, and I couldn't help but vomit. In this martial world, my entire body was actually equipped with 6,482,400,000 nanomachines. My half-brothers have always wanted me dead. Now with these mysterious nanomachines inside me, it didn't seem like a good thing. Just then, my guard brought a doctor in. I quickly laid down and acted weak. The doctor came to check my pulse, but the results shocked him. All the metabolic waste in my body had been flushed out, and the circulation in my meridians was invigorated. I didn't understand what that meant. It meant my body had become the perfect vessel for martial arts. Turns out, the nanomachines removed the impurities in my body and adjusted my system to the ideal state. The demonic path has 6 main clans. The leader takes a wife from each clan to produce heirs. These heirs are eligible to become the young leader. At a certain age, they enter the demonic academy. The academy opens once every 10 years. Cult members call this period the battle for the young leader. The doctor saw nothing wrong with my body and only prescribed some medicine to recover my energy. On his way out, he couldn't believe a human body could undergo such a miraculous change. I was someone who couldn't even learn basic moves. But now, compared to the geniuses of the 6 clans, no one else could achieve this level. He guessed the leader was secretly helping me. I washed off the grime from my body and asked the nanomachines how much of my body could be restored. Stab wounds from external impacts or damage to internal organs can be repaired immediately. However, blood loss and regrowing severed body parts require waiting for cell division, so it takes much longer. Though I didn't quite get it, it didn't matter. I cut a small slit on my hand. Then, a numbing sensation followed, and the wound healed in the blink of an eye. Under the Nanomachine's restructuring, my body became solid, as if I had mastered external arts. Nano was a bit of a mouthful, so I renamed it Nano. Next, I went to the study to use Nano's other functions. I pulled out a book on pressure points. As I flipped through the pages, Nano finished scanning and asked if it should transfer the data to my brain. After I agreed, a memory appeared out of thin air. The knowledge from books. I can now recite them fluently. And it's not just memorization. I actually understand the content. Even the errors in the books were automatically corrected by Nano and transferred to me. Doesn't this mean I can master martial arts faster than anyone else? Those guys from the 6 main clans have studied top-tier martial arts since they were kids. But because I was under their pact and surveillance, I only grew up learning Taoism. The Demonic Academy holds the most martial arts books in the world. With this ability, I'm confident I can get stronger faster than anyone at the academy and survive. At this moment, Chun Yoan of the Lust Demon Clan learned I'm still alive and decided to kill me with his own hands at the academy. Today is the admission day for the Demonic Academy. I'm so nervous I haven't slept all night. I was thinking maybe I should secretly learn Guard Zhang's dagger techniques for self-defense. But before my mother passed away, a pact was made that I couldn't learn any martial arts before entering the academy. If I steal their moves, the 6 clans watching me definitely won't let it slide. Then, Nano asked me if I wanted to scan Guard Zhang's training movements. It can even scan someone else's moves and transfer them to my brain. Nano stated that various martial arts data are recorded in its program and can be transferred to the master now. In the martial world, stealing someone's techniques is a huge taboo. No time to hesitate. At noon, I have to enter the academy alone. I had Nano scan the moves for me. After scanning for about an hour, the scanning of all movements was finally complete. Nano began the transfer to the user's brain, feeling the data in my head. It's honestly unbelievable. I learned Guard Zhang's dagger techniques instantly. I threw a thrust, and my movements were identical to Guard Zhang, who had practiced for 20 years. While I was practicing the scan moves, Nano analyzed the muscle fibers and meridians, asking if it should transfer these physical changes to my muscles. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my body. Nano explained that by simulating familiar training movements, it must transfer the developed traits to the muscles to fully execute the moves. The movement transfer is expected to take 1 hour, completing before admission. I chose to proceed. The heart-wrenching pain was unbearable. Nano activated anesthesia mode, making me lose consciousness. Guard Jang was in the kitchen cooking for me. My mother entrusted me to him before she died. 5 years later, I've grown up. He prayed for the madam's spirit to protect me so I can survive the academy. My screams reached his ears, and he rushed in to check on me. He checked my pulse, but found nothing wrong. Then he noticed the footprints. I left from the dagger technique. He thought I'd only watched him train for 2 years at most. In those 2 years, I only ate meat. Yet I've already caught up to his 20 years of practice. It's truly incredible. With the transfer complete, I woke up. Now, practicing the dagger technique shouldn't hurt anymore. I threw a test thrust. Even though it was the same move as before, it was more accurate and powerful. That was the first form, and now a part of the second form. Even without internal energy, it still leaves footprints like these. It'll be bad if Guard Jang sees this. Just then, Guard Jang arrived with the food. I quickly moved the table to hide the footprints. It was all my favorite food. I started devouring it. As soon as I finished, Guard Jang asked when I learned his dagger techniques. He moved the table, revealing the obvious footprints. I stammered, not knowing how to explain, but he praised me for doing well. He is my subordinate, but if it weren't for the pact with the 6 clans, he would have taught me long ago. He pulled out the internal energy cultivation secrets for the dagger technique, even though he wanted to teach me his own methods. The academy has plenty of techniques far superior to his. I couldn't help but burst into tears. I've only cried twice in my life. When my mother died, and now, I swear I'll never shed another tear after today. No more hesitating or being afraid. Even though my mother is gone, I still have a home where I belong. The demonic academy is officially open. All the clans of the demon cult have gathered here. A figure slowly steps forward on the high platform. It's the great guardian, Li Hamming. The guys below have 0 spine, which is disappointing, but those in the very front row actually have some presence. They are the sons of the 6 main clans. The tags numbered 1 through 6 on their chests prove their status. But I, the 7th son, am nowhere to be seen. I was told my name tag was missing. I have to wait here until it's found. Someone from the 6 clans definitely messed with it. They really don't want to stand in the same row as me, huh? Those guys have been trying to kill me for a long time. I survived all of you, and I made it here. I'll get stronger and make them pay. By the time I finally got my tag, I was stuck in the very back. The guys in front are pointing and whispering about me. I know exactly what they're saying, but let them talk. Li Hamming noticed me at the end, looking like an outcast in the last row. It's actually pretty funny. The horn sounds, announcing the arrival of the leader. A few powerful figures appear. One stumble walks in like a drunk, nearly bumping into Li Hamming. Li Hamming mocks him for showing up in such a mess. The drunk glares back at the redhead. The first guardian, Maro Jiam, orders them to be quiet. The leader takes his seat. He is one of the top 5 masters. Xion Yuzhong, leader of the great demonic cult. His overwhelming pressure makes everyone bow their heads. His internal energy carries his voice, so it's not loud, yet it fills the entire area. The brief opening ceremony ends, and the crowd erupts in deafening cheers. He glanced at me for a split second before turning away without a word. Such a cold look for our first meeting. Though, it's exactly what I expected. Now, the admission process officially begins. There are 6 stages over
Even
4
these
young
years in
leader
the academy.
candidates. You only get one
Don't have
shot at
any
the
official
advancement exam
standing
for
yet.
each stage. Students who fail the exam are eliminated on the spot. Candidate number 2, Chun Kyung-woon, asks a question. Li Hamming snaps, telling him he has no right to ask anything. Having been arrogant for years, he was immediately put in his place. From the moment you enter, the privileges of the 6 clans are gone. Want to be eliminated before the battle even starts? The other candidates snickered, and he could only bow an apology. But Li Hamming knew what the kid wanted to ask. Those who pass the exam and move to the next stage will receive 3 special rewards. The first reward is the Black Dragon Ball. Absorbing its essence grants 20 years of internal energy. Since I have 0 internal energy right now, if I can just pass the exam, I might be able to build up my energy in no time. The second reward is the secret martial arts manuals. With each stage you pass, another floor of the library opens up. Based on performance, you'll also get a chance to learn the secret techniques of the 6 clans, or even his own unique skills. More than internal energy, getting those manuals is a top priority. The third reward is granting you guys ranks and positions you've never had before. Going straight into the Stage 1 exam, just like that. Stage 1 is an exam to test your basic foundation. You need at least some internal energy. Anyone without even basic internal energy will be assigned to do grunt work at the lowest level of the cult. I see. This is why the ladies of the 6 clans made me swear not to learn internal energy. If I fail the exam, I'll have the most pathetic status in the cult. If that happens, they'll definitely kill me without hesitation. Elder Songpu of the demonic cult appeared. He's in charge of the Stage 1 exam. Others nervously covered their ears. As long as you have the bare minimum internal energy, you can endure his zither music for 15 minutes. Anyone who doesn't pass out from the sound waves within 15 minutes passes the exam. As Songpu plucked the strings, the jarring sound waves spread rapidly. Even with ears blocked, you could hear it. Standing in the middle, most of the guys from the minor sects collapsed. The young leader candidates from the 6 clans and the kids from the high-ranking sects were holding up fine. Since they were little, They've taken plenty of rare elixirs to transform their bodies. They already have quite deep internal energy. But Sangpu kept plucking, and the speed of the strings kept increasing. Then even they started to struggle. Why is this? Sangpu didn't understand why either. Why haven't I collapsed yet? I didn't know what was going on myself. Half the people on the training ground were on the floor. That's when Nano explained. It detected intense high and low-frequency sound waves that could severely damage the master's body. Emergency defense mode was activated to block the waves. It temporarily shut down the organs that perceive sound to block the external impact. Instead, it transmitted the information directly to my brain. Sangpu on the platform was staring daggers at me. I couldn't stop shaking. Li Hameng noticed the agitation in the elder's performance. He heard I had zero internal energy, but right now it doesn't look like that. Since he became the academy's principal, it's his first time seeing such an intense Stage 1 exam. Many people's ears were already bleeding. Kyungwoon also realized something was wrong. He immediately thought of the other heirs behind him. They were all freaked out. Drawing their attention, they all turned their heads to find me standing perfectly still. How is that possible? How can someone with no internal energy be totally fine? There's only one possibility. He has internal energy. I could tell those guys were pissed. Nano began analyzing their facial movements. This is the facial muscle state for absurdity, surprise, annoyance, and anger. If I pass the exam completely unscathed like this, no one will believe me. Even if I say I have no internal energy. I asked Nano if it could force an internal injury on me. While it's possible, Nano doesn't recommend intentionally damaging my own body. It's fine. Make me have internal injuries and cough up blood when the music ends. It was almost 15 minutes. That lowly bastard, actually holding on so calmly. Sangpu's pride wouldn't allow it to end like this. Let's see if you can block me pouring half my power into this performance. Sound waves of this level. Others wouldn't be able to stand it at all. Li Hameng quickly stopped Sangpu's performance. He finally snapped out of it. Everyone except me had collapsed. Li Hameng knew that if it continued any longer, everyone would be eliminated. An elder of our cult really made a fool of himself. Sangpu blamed everything on me, the lowly brat. It's all because I broke the pact with the 6 clans and learned internal energy. This is when Nano executed the command I just gave. I started spraying blood everywhere. No one else knew what the hell was happening. Nano executed my programmed command, severely damaging my internal organs. I pushed my blood to the limit. For a second, I really thought I was going to die. I couldn't help but call him a lunatic. The blood was still gushing out of me. After all, I have the leader's bloodline. It's not like I just dropped dead. Li Hameng, as the principal, was responsible for the aftermath. Nano was busy self-repairing my organs and replenishing blood. I told Nano not yet. We need to wait a little longer. Nano issued a critical condition warning. Li Hameng checked to see what level my internal energy was to be able to endure to this extent, but the result left him shell-shocked. I actually had no internal energy at all. This kid passed the Stage 1 exam through pure willpower. He ordered the guards to take me to the infirmary. I quickly had Nano start the treatment. With such incredible grit, if I weren't an illegitimate son, Li Hameng would have wanted to train me as his own disciple. Sub-Guardian Yom was intrigued to hear I endured it with willpower alone. He was curious. Li Hameng told him to go crawl back into some corner and keep drinking his wine. A powerful killing intent flared between the two. Yom didn't want to waste time with him and turned to leave. Kids these days have no backbone, he muttered, collapsing on the floor from just that level of sound waves. That illegitimate son is more like him. I was lying on a bed in the infirmary. Dr. Beck had never seen anything like this before. A patient vomiting so much blood from internal injuries. He reached out to check my pulse. I stole a quick glance at him. Before I even reached the infirmary, Nano had already healed all the internal damage. It still hurt like hell, but I had to endure it until the treatment was over. Judging by the pulse, my injuries seemed severe. He was considering using acupuncture on me. Suddenly, the door was kicked open. Yom strolled into the infirmary. He darkly asked me why I was faking sleep. He lifted my body using only his internal energy. My body felt like it was pinned in place. I couldn't move. Yom warned that if I kept faking it, he'd slap me. I guess I was found out after all. I asked him how he knew. For a master of my level, I can tell your state just by listening to your breathing, kid. Lately, these brats are all talk and no bite, he said. Not a decent one among them. But you're actually half decent. Though it's not like I really relied on willpower alone. Dr. Beck reminded him to let me have my medicine first. I coughed up another mouthful of blood. Yom saw that my complexion was indeed pale. A warm current flowed into my body, helping me regain some strength. Now Yom wanted to get down to business. Hey brat, why don't I take you as my disciple? Both Dr. Beck and I were stunned. He took 2 more swigs of wine. I asked him if he knew who I was. There wasn't a soul in the academy who didn't know me. If you take me as a disciple, the 6 clans will despise you. He laughed. If I want a disciple, what can those guys do about it? This was a golden opportunity for me, but it could very well be a trap. Yom saw my suspicion. Given the life I'd led, it was understandable. Then I'll give you a reason to be tempted. Yom slammed something onto the bedside table. It seems you're not worried about falling behind at all. You passed Stage 1 through grit. But without internal energy, can you really pass Stage 2? If I stayed in the infirmary for 14 days, the others would leave me in the dust. Nano could heal me instantly. But if I didn't want to arouse suspicion, I had to stay here for a while. Everyone else had internal injuries too, but they could use their chi to heal themselves, so they didn't need the infirmary. No wonder I was the only one here. I didn't know the first thing about guiding chi. Suddenly, I had a flash of inspiration. I remembered something. Anyone who passes the Stage 1 exam gets a black Dragon Ball. I can also use the first floor of the secret library. The Academy's secret library isn't a place you can just walk into. You only get one entry for every stage exam you pass. You only get 2 hours, and no copying is allowed inside. You have to memorize everything. Most can memorize 2 books at most in that time. But for me, this is a massive advantage. With Nano's scanning capabilities, I can scan nearly 100 books in 2 hours. The other guys and I are on completely different starting lines. Most of them already learned their clan's martial arts before coming here. To survive the threats of the 6 clans, I have to become the Sub-Guardian's disciple. Is this manual on my bedside table an internal energy technique? Bingo. If you become my disciple, kid, I'll start teaching you internal energy immediately. I shakily pushed myself up from the bed and knelt heavily on the floor. I'll take the Sub-Guardian as my master. Please accept my bow. Yom lifted me up. He told me that those of the Chion bloodline don't need to kowtow to anyone except the cult leader. Before I come back next time, memorize that internal energy manual. I'm off then. Take good care of my disciple. Dr. Beck and I watched Yom leave, both a bit speechless, with Nano and the Sub-Guardian. Lucky breaks are finally coming my way. In this hostile academy where everyone is an enemy, someone is finally on my side. Those who passed the Stage 1 exam are all practicing internal energy at the training ground. The head instructor reported that a total of 415 people passed the exam. That's about 200 fewer than the previous generation. Elder Songpu's zither technique was clearly overkill. Some of the eliminated students are protesting, but any resistance will be crushed. In the demonic cult, that's the fate of the weak. Among those who passed the first stage, many have impressive foundations. Elder Songpu used half his power, yet they were unaffected. That means they have at least 60 years' worth of internal energy. This battle for the young leader position will be interesting. The Academy issued copper plates symbolizing the rank of lower warrior. In this academy, no one is allowed to talk back to the instructors. The only acceptable response is demonic way. Got it. Demonic way. The students shouted in unison. Then let's begin grouping. Dr. Beck prepared all the supplies, and the official treatment began. Nano detected someone trying to use sharp iron needles to damage the master's body from the outside. Switching to emergency defense mode. No, stop. Can't you distinguish between an attack and treatment? Luckily, I stopped the defense mode in time. I told Nano not to react to things I accept voluntarily. After the acupuncture, my core felt a bit better. Nano displayed detailed info for me to review. Suddenly, an idea hit me. I asked Nano if it could heal me, while making it so the doctor doesn't notice when checking my pulse. Nano confirmed it could manipulate my pulse during the examination. Perfect. That way, I can buy more time to learn internal energy from the Sub-Guardian. Keep treating me, Nano. The groups have been finalized, and the instructions for the next exam began. To participate in the Stage 2 exam and become a high warrior, you must master basic tactics. You only have 21 days. For ordinary people, this is a massive challenge. There are 20 groups in total. After 3 weeks of competition, only 10 groups will advance. Starting tomorrow, your instructors will teach you tactics and combat. The crowd reflected. They recalled the scene of the instructors knocking out and dragging out the protesters. After the dismissal was announced, everyone left the grounds. Only Cheon Muyan from Group 8 stayed behind. He informed the martial arts instructor that student number 7 from his group was in the infirmary. He claimed he didn't want the whole group to fail just because one member was missing. So, he offered to personally relay today's lesson to student number 7. To think that lowlife ended up in my group. I'll be the one to personally crush your limbs. The instructor praised his proactive attitude, noting he seemed to understand the team aspect of the exam. The instructor took the suggestion to heart and decided to visit student number 7 himself. Cheon Muyan said he could handle it, trying to avoid the trouble. Do you think a student can just wander freely? The instructor asked. Even as a candidate for the young leader of the Sword Clan, that privilege doesn't work here. Then I'll leave it to you, instructor. Fine then. I'll wait until he returns to the dorms to strike. I'll make you feel a pain worse than death. You'll beg for mercy. The instructor was surprised I'd be hospitalized for 14 days. He hoped his assigned group wouldn't be disqualified because of one guy. I was fast asleep at the time. The instructor decided to come back tomorrow. Early next morning, a dark figure appeared and kicked my door open. Yom roared with laughter. Your master has arrived. A heavy scent of wine followed him in. Aren't you going to greet your master? I awkwardly paid my respects to him. He asked if I'd memorized the internal energy manual. Luckily, I'd had Nano scan it beforehand. Yom was likely just messing with me to test me, but he didn't expect me to memorize it despite my injuries. I didn't understand why he came so early in the morning. Yom explained that I only have 14 days for him to teach me. Once I return to the dorms, it would be too risky for us to meet within the academy. Security is lax at this hour, so we won't draw any unwanted attention. After all, in the academy, it's forbidden to learn from anyone but the instructors. I thought I was so unreasonable with him. Now it seems he really went out of his way for me. We are out of time. Let's start now. Quick, turn around and sit on the floor. Yimeng, you sit down too. He placed his hand on my back. He is actually going to transfer the heart strike cultivation method directly into my body. Heart strike? I have never heard of that before. It is a brilliant technique created by my own master. Remember to grit your teeth. If you scream and attract the guards, it is all over. The elder's internal energy flooded into my body. Invisible energy detected, entering through the user's ManhWa pressure point, initiating analysis of internal database. Energy is circulating repeatedly through specific pressure points, presumed to be chi or prana. I know Master is using powerful internal energy to force open my blocked meridians. It hurts like heck. Master, I swear I have never practiced anything before. Then why are all 14 of your meridians completely clear for energy circulation? If we are talking about combat forms, your muscles and veins are more than ready. As expected, did the great leader step in? Out of his 7 wives, Lady Hua was the one he truly loved the most. This kid is her son. Maybe he secretly put some work into him. With this kind of potential, 7 days is enough to form internal energy in his core. At the same time, the Demon Academy student dorms. Every group is fighting for the leader position. Young Lord Tian of the Poison Clan was actually defeated by a guy from a mere upper-tier sect. There is no status here. It is a dog-eat-dog world. Since I won, I, by G, will be the leader of Group 12. Master finally finished transferring the cultivation method. This is the perfect method for someone like me, who knows nothing about internal energy. The goal is to generate energy in your core within 7 days. Looking at how exhausted Master is, he must have used a massive amount of his own energy. I am truly grateful for your help, Master. Your disciple will not fail. You are actually saying things like that? That is a rare sight. Keep reflecting on it. Think about the Wutian breathing and circulation paths. I am heading out. Take good care of your body. He is the 3rd person to ever show me any warmth in this world. I have to master internal energy in 7 days. The next day, all students gathered at the main field. It was just as I expected. The young lords of the 6 great clans became group leaders. None of the instructors were at the dorms yesterday, which was a green light for the leadership fights. Suddenly, he noticed something strange. The leader of Group 12 is some unknown student 18. He actually dared to touch the holder of the black tag, who might become the young leader. Seems like he's got both the skills and the guts. The head instructor announced that starting today, for the next 7 days, mornings will be for tactics and theory. Afternoons will be for formation training on the field. Now, form 5 lines and move to the hall. Young Lord Tian Tsong of the Poison Clan was still fuming about last night's defeat. A voice mocked him for being such a fool. Does the Poison Clan have nothing but their poison to brag about? You should just stick to doing chores in that lower tier sect. Tian Tsong, who is used to getting his way, had never been so humiliated. That lowlife from the Shuinga clan, by G, right? Go ahead and enjoy playing leader while you can. I'll make you regret even sharing the same air as me. At night, the Group 8 instructor, Ling Ping, praised Tian Wuji's formation command as being very impressive. By the way, Student 7 has to be hospitalized for 14 days, so I have to go give Student 7 today's lesson. Wu Jing kicked open the dorm door. He doesn't believe that guy needs 14 days in the hospital. Life blood lying there comfortably makes him grit his teeth in rage. Nearby, a lackey quietly offers a plan to satisfy Tian Wuji. 4 days pass in the blink of an eye. The infirmary finally has a new patient, a student from Group 8. He was badly injured and bleeding during blade training. The treatment ends quickly. Although no meridians were damaged, the wound is quite deep. He only needs to stay for 3 days. Darn it. Why do my students keep getting hurt? Looks like I have no choice but to write an incident report. At night, the injured student quietly crawls up. He grabs Dr. Bai's scalpel. Should I start by making sure you can't walk? I am being forced to do this, so don't blame me. A violent electric current surges through the man's body. He loses consciousness almost instantly, just as I expected. When the man opens his eyes again, he is already tied up. A hand pulls back the curtain. It is me, Baldy. He heard I had severe internal injuries. But why do I look perfectly fine now? I pull out a mirror and show him his own bald head. Only then does he realize he can no longer feel the sensation of his flowing hair. He writhes in pain on the bed. I land a punch right on his face and gag his mouth. Why are you still mumbling like an idiot with that gag in? How do you think I have lived this long? I deal with murderous punks like you, trying to assassinate me all the time. Since you want to play this game, you should know how much it hurts to be stabbed. Spit it out. Who gave you the guts to do this? I rip the cloth from his mouth. But he claims he has no idea what I am talking about. He knows I can't kill him in the infirmary. In the Demon Academy, outside of training or formal duels, you are strictly forbidden from harming others. What are you going to do to me, kid? Then let's see if you can keep that mouth shut. I shove the gag back in. I pick up Dr. Bai's surgical tools. My old place didn't have such nice toys. You look terrified. I slowly spread his fingers one by one. This is going to sting. Try to hang in there. A long needle sinks deep under his fingernails. They say the pain in your fingers goes straight to your heart. Don't fake the pain now. Just one hand. And this guy has already passed out twice. Now, how about we try the right hand? He shakes his head frantically. Ready to talk now? Why couldn't you have just said so earlier? He knows if he keeps this up, he will end up crippled if not dead. I ask him directly if Tian Wuji sent him. You must be wondering how I know. Thanks to the wonderful care of the group leader. The martial arts instructor comes to tutor me every morning. He gave me a very detailed list of the groups and all their members. Are you student 23? Chu Feng? Chu Feng doesn't know who started the rumor that I was trash. This kid is a monster. He only hid his fangs because he lacked power. Terrified, Chu Feng swears he won't breathe a word of this to anyone. Please, don't be angry anymore. I channel my internal energy to my fingertips and strike his pressure points. He can't understand who said I had no internal energy. This guy has fooled everyone. At dawn, Yiming goes to see his favorite disciple again. He didn't expect the day to come so soon. To use that on the boy? After finishing his training yesterday morning, the kid actually managed to generate internal energy in his core. Keep in mind, it has only been 5 days. Normally, it takes at least 2 to 3 weeks. Without talent, you might not even succeed in a month. This guy has completely exceeded Yiming's expectations. Looks like I need to change the plan. He took it out and told me to absorb it well. The demon dragon pill can add 20 years of internal energy. The pill still smells absolutely putrid. With Master helping me as much as possible to minimize the strain of the side effects, I could fully gain 20 years of cultivation. This way, I might finally be able to stand on my own 2 feet. Then Master noticed there was someone else, knocked out right next to me. I explained that he faked an injury to come in and assassinate me. Anyone brave enough to pull that crap in the Academy's infirmary must know they're getting kicked out. The moment they get caught, someone must have ordered him to do it. Promising to have his back, I told him it was a guy from the Poison Clan who was in the same group as me. That whole clan is full of nothing but violent thugs and troublemakers. Kid, your life doesn't have a single peaceful day, does it? It is fine. I am used to it. Suddenly, Master struck Chu Feng's pressure points again. He explained that with less than a year of energy, a sealed point will unlock itself in a few hours. To truly paralyze someone, you need at least 10 years of internal energy. Got it. I will keep that in mind. Master urged me to hurry up and swallow the demon dragon pill. Am I really supposed to just gulp this thing down? Remember to chew it thoroughly before swallowing. That is the only way to absorb its full power. This stinky pill looks like it is going to taste incredibly bitter. And I was right. The taste is extremely harsh and pungent. It made my tongue go numb. I felt like I was going to puke. Just swallow it already. Sit cross-legged and use the Wutian cultivation stance. I am going to help you absorb the demon dragon pill now. I am counting on you, Master. System detected an internal heat surge, activating energy-boosting substances. Should I accelerate your metabolism? I don't really understand the tech talk, but it probably means it'll help absorb the elixir. I authorized the system to boost my metabolism. This completely shocked Master. No way. Is this kid born with a natural spirit body? Normally, you can only absorb about 80% of the effect, but it feels like I took in every single bit. My internal energy is exploding. This disciple really keeps me on my toes. After some time, the sun began to rise. I finally finished the absorption process. Master asked how the energy boost felt. He worked pretty darn hard this time, too. Kid, you just gained 30 years worth of internal energy. When other students try to absorb the demon dragon pill, even half is considered a success. I knew exactly what that meant. Thank you, Master. Please accept my respect. Yiming chuckled and said it was fate. You are my fate, aren't you? Thank you, system. The system replied that helping the host is its program duty. It was about time for Master to leave. I stopped him to ask if I could start learning his signature martial arts. The butterfly dance blade forms tomorrow. Of course you can. During the rest of your hospital stay, the schedule is going to be tight. So get ready to train your butt off. At dawn, all the students gathered at the main field. Tian Wuji couldn't help but smirk. Thanks to your planning. That worm of a guy, Zixian, must have had his meridian snapped. He is probably crawling like an insect right now. I am itching to go rip that guy's face off. While he is groveling on the ground, Dr. Bai in the infirmary was cracking up. How did you lose all your hair overnight? Haha. Because he couldn't take his anger out on the guy next to him. Dr. Bai wiped his tears while closing the curtain. Then he noticed how silent I was being. He knew something definitely went down last night. But as the academy doctor, he just needs to focus on healing and keep his nose out of everything else. 2 days later, Chu Feng returned to the Group 8 dorms. Tian Wuji was confused. Weren't you supposed to be kicked out? Chu Feng said his internal injuries were too severe, so the doctor had to treat him around the clock. Does the doctor never sleep at night? Are you trying to make excuses right now? I got up at dawn to act, just as you ordered. But the doctor was already awake. Tian Wuji is furious. How sharp can a doctor's hearing really be? This darn guy. Can't he get a single thing right? Zixian asks the young lord to wait while he asks Chu Feng for the doctor's name. I heard his name is Bai Zongming. Zixian remembers that name. He must be a disciple of the great physician Bai Zongyo. Even though he came from the Poison Clan, his medical skills are legendary. He is the one who became the leader's personal doctor. Despite being a doctor, his martial arts level is among the top 30 in the academy. Since he is that man's disciple, his skills must be outstanding. Darn it. So sending this kid was a total waste of time. You useless jerk. Don't you dare expect me to support your sect anymore. Tian Wuji was the one who approached Chu Feng first. He promised that even if Chu Feng got expelled, he would still support his small and weak sect. If Tian Wuji had kept his promise, he was going to tell him everything. Go ahead. Keep throwing your tantrum. Once that guy gets here, let's see if you can still act so tough. Tian Wuji rips off Chu Feng's head wrap. Seeing his own reflection makes him beat the kid up again. The others aren't happy about it, but they can't do anything because of his highborn bloodline. Once Tian Wuji is tired of the beating, he leaves Chu Feng lying on the ground like a dead dog. As he sobs, he curses Tian Wuji and me to go to heck. Whatever. I asked Dr. Bai if he knows any martial arts, but he doesn't know any at all. He only studied medicine. Suddenly, it's 5 a.m. 7 days later. I am practicing the phantom steps with some style. Master is becoming convinced that I am a once-in-a-lifetime genius. He only showed me the phantom steps a few times and barely corrected my posture. He didn't expect me to have such perfect form and natural movements. It's all thanks to the system scanning Master's moves. That's how I can replicate them perfectly. If I acted like that from the start, he'd get suspicious, so I have to take it slow. The butterfly blade style has 2,413 variations in one form. It took a lot of time just to build the foundation, so he hasn't been able to teach me the flow yet. 7 days is just too short. Alright, that was some good practice. Here are the forms and the energy cultivation for the butterfly blade. I wanted to teach you personally, but today is the final day. With your brains and intuition, you should be able to figure out the basics. I will check your progress the next time we meet. Don't get lazy. Keep practicing hard. Thank you, Master. I won't let you down. This is my wild dance blade. Take a look. Standard blades weigh about 2 to 3 pounds, but our school's treasure, the wild dance blade, weighs less than 1.5 pounds. Is it because of the butterfly blade style? You really are sharp. Master's strike is so incredibly fast and clean. Even though the blade is light, it was forged with elite skill. Because it's so sharp and durable, it's called a legendary weapon. Weren't you curious? Let me show you. Watch closely. This is my butterfly blade style. I call out to the system to prepare the scan. After finishing, Yi Ming leaves casually. The Great Protector told Li Huoming to pretend he didn't know about what happened during this time. That must have been a lot of work. In the infirmary, it's time to bring back the original guards. But Li Huoming still doesn't understand why the 7th young lord is being looked after like this. Because it's only fair. Is it because all children are loved equally? The Great Protector warned him not to question the master. He really is a god of war, vanishing in an instant without leaving a trace. Thinking back, will things truly become fair after only 14 days? Dr. Bai looks at me with a bit of suspicion. I'm usually up way before this. Why am I still sleeping so late today? Actually, it makes sense. After all, this is the last chance for some real rest. Better sleep in as much as possible. The system reports muscle fiber conversion from Yi Ming's butterfly style is at 80% completion. Meridian restructuring is at 75%. Estimated time until completion is 1 hour. Half an hour later, Dr. Bai is startled by me. He rushes over to see what happened. Right now, I'm shaking all over and puking nonstop. He quickly checks my pulse. What is going on? How can someone who was sleeping so soundly have a pulse like this? His heart rate is going wild, beating as if his body is being pushed to the brink. The system begins to stabilize the physical transformation, transferring the backlash within the body. Dr. Bai is totally baffled. How did he stabilize so suddenly? Master never mentioned a situation like this. Whatever, just let him sleep. Getting lunch is more important, right, Gio? I wake up after an unknown amount of time. My physical power is night and day compared to 3 hours ago. I think I finally realized just how hard Master trained to get this way. If he knew I gained this level of physicality in just 3 short hours, he'd probably pass out from shock, even without using internal energy. The forms alone can create such a massive impact. The system has finished the scan. Thank you for teaching me everything, Master. Going back to the academy will be brutal. I can't afford to let my guard down. In this hellish place, at least there is one person who genuinely worries about me. The system has completed the motion analysis. Conversion complete. It took roughly 6 hours in total. That explains why I felt so terrible earlier. It's a whole new world. The first form of my blade style is now identical to Master's. Next up is the second form. That's when I sense something out of the ordinary. Someone is walking down the hallway toward me. Could it be that as my body changes, my senses are becoming more acute as well? Great. The preparations are complete. The person in the hallway walks in. So the presence I felt was just Dr. Bai. I put my name tag back on. Dr. Bai sighs, saying there are no other patients, and he'll be bored once I leave. Don't worry, you'll have plenty of them soon. Thanks for everything during my stay. If the doctor hadn't looked the other way, while I was training with the right protector, things would have been very difficult in here. I won't forget the kindness you've shown me. I'll make sure to send some patients your way. My body is recovered. It's time to restart my training. The instructor gives me my gear and tells me to fall in. Tian Wuji glares at me with pure disdain. He mocks me, saying I must have been shivering in fear, since it took me this long to show your filthy face here. He didn't get to finish, because I completely ignored him. Don't get ahead of yourself. I'll give you a real fight soon enough. Tian Wuji. Live blade combat training starts now. If there are any more accidents, the instructor will use his authority to expel you. Tian Wuji might be arrogant and cruel, but he definitely carries himself like a true successor. To make sure I don't mess up, the instructor puts me in the easiest position, but I'm not who he thinks I am. I'm keeping up with the pace perfectly. The instructor orders everyone to hold their formation. An hour later, some people are already starting to flag. The instructor finds it odd. Even the veterans are struggling. So how is this kid, who was stuck in a hospital bed for so long, looking completely unfazed? He orders a change in formation. Tianwuji takes command with everything he's got, forming a pincer move to surround the enemy. Step in and lunge. I'm keeping up with his masterpiece of a command perfectly. Tianwuji is fuming. Why am I not making any mistakes? He can't stand someone with filthy blood doing well. He whispers to his lackey, Zixian, ordering the third formation, exactly as he instructed. 15 minutes later, they shift to a shield formation, thanks to the system's simulation feed. Handling this is a breeze. The shield wall is set. The formation needs a spear thrust between the shields. Zixian sneaks up behind me, sizing me up. I can see his soul clearly. Trash with dirty blood should be crawling on the ground, but I sidestep his trip with a slight twist. I look back and glare at him. He didn't expect me to catch on. So this time, he goes for a full-force kick. I use my internal energy to defend, sending him flying backward. I turn around and laugh. He immediately blows a fuse. The instructor is pissed too. You again? Were you the one who stabbed student 23 last time? You've completely lost it. 3 days of free time gone. Until bedtime, you're doing hellish extra training with me. One more word, and you're out. The others have been sick of Tianwuji and his dirty tricks for a long time. Hearing the laughter of the crowd, Tianwuji's hatred for me only deepens. Li Homing watches all of this calmly. My energy is much deeper than he expected. Even if a right protector level master taught me, it's still strange. It couldn't be Yi Ming. That drunkard couldn't have taught this well. Is it possible? This guy has the natural talent to fully absorb the dragon pill, even with only half the bloodline. A tiger doesn't sire a dog. In the same group, 2 candidates are at each other's throats. Things are getting interesting. Afternoon training ends. The instructor announces it's time to eat. After 14 days of nothing but plain porridge, I finally get a decent meal. But seriously, is this kid going to glare at me the whole time I eat? Whatever. I don't know why he hates me specifically, but I'm not forgiving any of them. You 6 great clans, you have no idea what it feels like to watch your mother lose herself and be helpless. From now on, I'm going to crush all of you. Dinner is over. The daily schedule ends here, except for Zixian. The rest of the group is dismissed. Back at Group 8's dorm, Room 8 on the first floor. A voice stops me in my tracks, without my permission. Where do you think you're going? This guy is so predictable. Does he think bringing lackeys everywhere makes him the boss? Everyone's eyes are on Tianwuji, the young lord candidate of the Yin clan. Tianyuanli is no exception. Tianwuji sees the crowd. Time to put on a show. He steps forward, calling me dirty blood. The coward who hid in the infirmary. Did you enjoy your vacation? What's wrong? You mad? You filthy piece of... I cut him off, asking if he was insulting the Lord. He froze for a second. He had no idea what I was talking about. By calling me dirty blood, aren't you insulting the Lord himself? To insult the man who stands above the sky. Do you think you're even higher than the sky? The crowd starts whispering immediately. He wanted to humiliate me in public. But I just flipped the script on him. Tianyuanli laughs. The Demon Clan guys really are idiots. The candidate from the Blade Clan agrees. Wasting his breath on such a lowlife. Tianwuji snaps. I'm gonna shut that arrogant mouth. I slam my fist right into his face. Tianwuji drops to his knees, caught off guard. I start mocking his coughing. I asked you, what were you trying to say? You lowlife piece of trash. How dare you? Tianwuji explodes with rage. He unleashes the demon void fist, but I dodge it with a quick sidestep. I land firmly to the side. Then I immediately bolt toward the exit. That lowlife actually knows light footwork. Tianwuji barks at his lackeys to go catch him. Since you had the guts to strike me and run, if I let you get away with this, I wouldn't be able to call myself a man. I keep my pace just fast enough to stay right within their reach. Tianwuji catches up while I'm fleeing. He yells at his lackeys for being so slow. Get the heck out of my way. I'm gonna catch you and crush your face. I'm gonna break every bone in your body. I maintain the exact same speed as Tianwuji and stop right when the timing is perfect. You darn coward. Why'd you stop running? Running? Don't be ridiculous. There was just no need for anyone else to see this. Tianwuji is caught off guard by the impact. He used 70% of his power to defend, but still got pushed back. He finally realizes my internal energy is no joke. But how is this weakling doing this? He had 0 internal energy during the first exam. What the heck happened? Perfect. Panic just like I expected you to. Time to keep the pressure on. Butterfly Blade, second form, returning silk. That's a surprise. He actually managed to dodge it. Tianwuji starts channeling his strength. A heavy punch slams right into me. Demon Void Fist, second form, shattering hook. Another elbow strike comes flying at me. My internal energy is still a level below his. It seems his base energy was already higher than average before joining. And now with the dragon pill, his power has skyrocketed. I can't give him a chance to counter. I have to keep attacking. I use the phantom steps to flash to his side. The others can only see a blur. But the strike misses. Tianwuji retaliates instantly with a knee strike. He sees that while my movements are fluid, I have no idea how to actually handle an incoming attack. My blade work isn't quite there yet. But it definitely spooked him. I guess it's obvious I'm self-taught. Tian Wuji mocks me for only knowing 2 moves. I've only learned 2 blade forms, and he realized I lack real combat experience. I really underestimated Tian Wuji. I didn't think the gap in experience would be this huge. Tian Wuji plans to trample me first, before interrogating me on how I learned my skills. Nano sensed an external threat. To counter the threat, it activated the visual interface for the user. Augmented reality engaged, initiating combat coaching, activating tactical defense mode. I actually dodged a powerful charging strike. The heavy punch slammed hard into Tian Wujing's chin. Even I was stunned. What I just used wasn't a blade technique at all. What the hell was that? Nano utilized one of the built-in self-defense martial arts. Boxing was used for the coaching. It was a tailored tutorial, analyzing the opponent's moves within 0.01 seconds to reach a conclusion. I don't really get it. But can we stop the boxing and switch to the butterfly blade? Analysis and transfer complete. Coaching ready. Do you agree to proceed? I choose yes. You lucky piece of trash. Learning boxing. Your luck just ran out. Nano received the command. Switching defense mode from boxing to butterfly blade. I can see exactly where and how he's going to attack. I easily dodged Tian Wujing's fist. Now it's my turn to counter. I struck Tian Wujing's body with a blade-like slash. Painful memories of the past flooded back to him. As long as you work hard enough, your father will focus on me again. He'll stop caring about that filthy brat. You have to win at everything, understand? Mom, it's because you're useless that things are this way. If only that filthy brat hadn't shown up. It's not my fault. It's because you didn't perform well. It's because you're a failure. Why? Why do these damn memories surface now of all times? Damn it, am I going to lose? Am I really losing like this? You think I'd lose to a lowlife like you? I grabbed his head and slammed it hard into the ground. He had no strength left to resist. You brought this all on yourself. If the second stage of the exam hadn't been in groups, I would have crushed your skull long ago. I'm done wasting words on Tian Wujing. Look at that. That was a close call. If not for Nano, I would have lost. Even though I learned martial arts fast, experience is something you can't underestimate. To reach the highest level, I still need internal energy and experience. First, I need to be clear on how to use everything I have. I called out to Nano, asking how many of its available features I've used so far. Nano answered based on its logs, never more than 3. In other words, there are still plenty of useful features left. Nano asked whether to transfer the detailed manual for the 7th Gen nanomachines to my brain to aid in smooth understanding. It would also transfer the English language program from its library. Bring it on. I'll take it all. The massive data dump made my head throb. Great. Let's start searching for functions. Nano, can you really do all this? It can enhance repeated sparring simulations against others in reality. With this, I can make up for my lack of experience. Nano explained, to run a simulation, movement data related to the opponent's actions must be analyzed, though the data on Tian Wujing from earlier is insufficient. A virtual avatar can be created based on the combat records. Fine. Let's give it a try right now. Nano activated the visual interface for the user. Augmented reality engaged before activating the virtual avatar. Adjusting the simulation data. Please adjust. Virtual avatar impact on user set to 100%. Set it to 100% then. The virtual avatar used Tian Wujing's arrogant tone, telling a lowlife like me to bring it on. Why? Why did it simulate his nauseating personality too? Since it's a virtual avatar, I'm definitely going to crush his skull. The virtual Tian Wujing launched an attack. The Demon Subduing Void Fist. 5th move, Demon Subduing Process. It actually perfectly recreated the technique from earlier. I dodged the strike with a quick shift. My handblade dropped with full force, but even then, he managed to dodge it. Tian Wujing taunted. Do you really think such a reckless attack will work? I was sent flying by one of his punches. Nano, using the pain data I just experienced as a base, used the nanomachines in my body to replicate the same impact intensity. Would you like to readjust the impact intensity? Irritated, I replied, forget it, just keep going. Come at me, you lowlife. Damn guy, you're always so annoying. Even if you're just a virtual avatar. I don't know how much time passed, but I lay on the ground, exhausted. Nano gave me the current count. Hell, out of 15 duels, I only won the last one. I lost the first duel in just 5 seconds. If the virtual avatar is at this level, a real fight against the actual Tian Wujing would probably end in a brutal loss. Nano's data showed that, during my repeated sparring, the fluid use of movement transitions and the butterfly blade frequency were both increasing. But what's the point? That kid just used the same 3 moves over and over, and I only beat him once. Just you wait. Within 7 days, I will easily take down this virtual Tian Wujing. I returned to my quarters. Everyone else was pointedly avoiding me. Just by taking down a minor cult leader candidate, they're already clearing a path for me. Suddenly, Su Feng approached me with great enthusiasm. He subserviently told me where my bed was. The others didn't understand why he was acting like that. I noticed his attitude had changed completely. Is he trying to get something from me? Su Feng knew he had been abandoned by Tian Wujing and had nowhere left to turn. Since it's death either way, might as well take a final gamble. I, student number 23 Su Feng, vow to serve Prince Chun Yuan as my master. The others thought Su Feng had lost it, swearing loyalty to the powerless 7th prince. Even I was a bit confused for a moment. Su Feng deeply regretted his past arrogance. Please, Let me become one of your subordinates and serve you faithfully. I've never been one to easily trust the lackeys of others. Unlike Garjong, who was appointed by Instructor He, someone has actually volunteered to be my follower. I suppose it's time to start building my own influence. I nodded in acknowledgement. Su Feng was instantly overjoyed, vowing his life in loyalty to me. A piercing voice rang out. Zixian snarled. Who the hell does this insect think he's swearing loyalty to? Su Feng trembled with fear, but he knew he couldn't back down. I asked him who he thought he was, daring to call someone else's subordinate an insect. A guy who spends all his time sucking up to others. Is the real insect, isn't he? Zixian roared. You lowlife. I easily dodged his incoming punch. With a backhand strike, I knocked him to the floor. He was nothing compared to the virtual avatar. Su Feng was now certain he had made the right choice. I gestured to Tian Wujing, asking if he wanted to try again. Take as much as you want. Even with one insect for a follower, nothing's changed. The others were in disbelief. The brutal Tian Wujing actually backed down in a clash of wills, but the prestige of the demon-subduing sect remains. Maybe he really can restore the glory of the great demonic cult. 7 days later, the day of the second stage exam. As previously stated, for adjacent groups will draw lots to determine their opponents. First, groups 1 through 4 come forward. Strangely, groups 2 through 4 all have new group leaders. Only group 1 remains under Tian Wuyan of the Black Demon sect. Li Hamong wears a meaningful smirk. The drawing of lots concludes quickly. Group 1 versus Group 3. Group 2 versus Group 4. Next, groups 5 through 8 step forward. Strangely, 2 more leaders have been replaced in these 4 groups. A situation beyond Li Haming's expectations has occurred. The leader of Group 8 has actually been changed to me. Tian Yuanli sees me and knows something is wrong. He clearly gave that warning already. The day before, as training ended, Tian Wujing watched the guys still doing group drills. He thought to himself how foolish they were. Haven't they realized their entire strategy will be exposed? There's nothing to see here. Better go practice. Tian Yuanli called out to him. Tian Wujing gave him a cold, annoyed look. He ignored him and turned to leave. But Tian Yuanli blocked his path. Irritated, he snapped. What the hell are you doing? I thought long and hard before calling you out. Do you have to be like this? Tian Wujing still remembers him saying. Everyone in the demon-subduing sect was a fool. He didn't want to talk to him. This is really infuriating. Fine, let's make it quick. Tian Yuanli revealed his injured right arm. Last night, while training alone, he was ambushed by someone. Tian Wujing was surprised. Who would be bold enough to do such a thing? But the attacker was masked, so he couldn't tell. You were probably attacked because you let your guard down. Tian Wujing mocked him. Tian Yuanli warned him not to take this as a joke. He hadn't been careless at all. Since he was targeted, there's a high chance Tian Wujing is a target too, because they were placed in the same bracket for the duel. The draw determines the opponent. It could have been finished in one go, yet it was split into 4 groups. That means each group can guess their opponent in advance. So, that information was deliberately made public to lure some people into targeting the opposing group leaders. Exactly. If the leader is gone, the formation is hard to maintain. Anyway, the exam is tomorrow. You can't afford to be careless. Stop doing risky things like training alone. Tian Yuanli didn't want to hear that a cult leader candidate failed the second stage exam. That would be too pathetic. Tian Wujing didn't expect the weakest among them to give him advice. How arrogant. But those words shouldn't be ignored either. He decided to take Zixian along for training. That night, at the hour of the pig, I confidently claimed that within 7 days, I'd easily beat the virtual Tian Wujing. But Nano indicated the current win rate was only over 60%. However, my strength has improved significantly over these 7 days. Nano estimated the goal would be reached in a few more days. Time to head back to the dorm. But on the way, I heard the sound of fighting. Who's over there? It's too dark to see. It looks like someone has collapsed on the ground. I called Nano to activate night vision mode. One of them was Tian Wujing. It seems he was ambushed by that masked man. The masked man's sword was incredibly swift. Tian Wujing was completely overwhelmed. To think someone could suppress him like this. The masked guy's skills were extraordinary. While I didn't want to help Tian Wujing, we can't have a group exam without a leader, right? The masked man reacted quickly and dodged my sneak attack. I followed up with a punch. But he dodged it again. It seems he's a master with unpredictable strength. Sensing the tide turning, the masked man quickly left the scene. Tian Wujing didn't expect to sink so low as to need my help. Well, should I just leave you guys and go? I brought the 2 of them back to the quarters and had the others treat their injuries immediately. Su Feng was a bit worried if his master, was hurt. Nano scanned the victim's injuries. It found a laceration on the head, 4 centimeters long and 2 millimeters deep. After stopping the bleeding and disinfecting, the wound just needs stitches to be fine. Suddenly, someone cried out. I was so focused on Zixian that I didn't realize this guy hadn't made a sound. His injuries looked severe. I told Su Feng to quickly call the instructor on duty. Despite the immediate emergency treatment, this guy probably won't be able to walk for a while. The exam is tomorrow. If the group leader can't walk, we're definitely screwed. The instructor knocked him out with 1 hit. Tian Wujing carried him toward the infirmary. I reminded the instructor there was another injured person, but he wasn't picked up. Su Feng wanted to carry that guy instead. I told him not to worry. I'd do it myself. Carrying Zixian, I caught up with the instructor and explained the situation. The instructor knew that no matter what, someone would eventually bring that guy along. I realized he deliberately left the injured person there just to make someone follow him. What was the reason? The instructor said there was no particular reason, except that your group feels like it has already failed. That's all I wanted to say. Hand that guy over to me. Students aren't allowed to leave their quarters at night. You know that, right? Without a main player, you'll have to use a substitute. I sharply caught the key words in the instructor's statement. Was our group the only one this happened to? The second stage exam clearly has a hidden meaning. Targeting the most important person, the leader, must be a way to win easily against the opposing group in tomorrow's exam. I see. The reason for drawing lots and grouping in advance was to create a situation where underhanded tactics would be used. This is the great demonic cult. There's no need to be obsessed with the rules. Then I'll act like a true demonic practitioner. I asked the other group members how long they planned to stay demoralized just because the leader was attacked. But only Tian Wujing had received leadership training and performed field commands. Who else could possibly replace him? At that moment, Su Feng looked up. He asked why they thought there was no one. Isn't my master, Prince Chun Yo-one, right here? The room fell silent for a moment. Everyone looked at each other. The neutral students were the first to voice their support. After all, my presence was no weaker than Tian Wujing's. Tian Wujing's lackeys had no other choice but to go along with it for now. Does everyone agree to me being the leader? Fine. While I was undergoing formation training, I came up with a tactic. That night, at the hour of the tiger, a figure stood up in the Group 8 dorm and quietly left. I called for Nano to activate night vision mode. Time to continue the operation. I returned in the early morning to the Group 7 dorm I had visited so many times. Nano scanned the entire interior of Room 7. This time, they were finally all fast asleep. I asked Nano, is the guy who attacked Tian Wujing in here? After comparing physical data, Nano found no match. That's fine. I quickly knocked these people unconscious. This guy must be the leader of Group 7. He seemed to be waking up. So I quickly knocked him out. Quite sharp. A decent leader. I took out the long needles I had prepared and performed several rounds of acupuncture on the Group 7 leader's meridians and pressure points. He won't be able to walk for a while. Even though it wasn't you who did it, don't hold a grudge. Now, on to the next room. Tian Yuanli, the leader of Group 5, is weaker than Tian Wujing, so he wasn't the masked man. That means the guy who attacked Tian Wujing is in Group 6, right? Nano detected that all 16 people were fast asleep. Wait, why are there 16 people? Counting the 3 female students living separately on the second floor. One person is still missing. Nano's scan revealed there's no one here whose data matches the masked man. In that case, it's highly likely it's the person who isn't here right now. If they were in this single-story building, they would have noticed me walking back and forth just now. Wait, what am I agonizing over? I don't have to target only the group leader. It's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The next day, I drew lots to determine our opponent. Li Hamming knew that since I became the leader, it meant someone had injured that young brat from the demon-subduing sect. He fully understood the hidden meaning of the exam. As expected, this term at the Demonic Academy won't disappoint. For the exam, everyone has prepared honorably and extensively. I hope you can decide the winner fairly. The word fairly was incredibly ironic. Standing there, I vaguely sensed a gaze on me. Is it that guy? That kid's eyes look very familiar. I had Nano perform a scan. Nano began scanning the physical data. Height and skeletal structure are 100% identical to the masked man. Found you at last. First round, Group 1 versus Group 3. As Li Hamming announced the start, Group 3 took the initiative and charged. Group 1 leader Tian Wuyin ordered formation number 3. Slightly to Li Hamming's surprise, he deployed an oblique formation. Shields began to clash. There was almost no suspense in this duel. It was a completely one-sided crush. Tian Wuyin looked down at the Group 3 leader and ordered him to surrender. He had no choice but to give up. The opponent wasn't particularly weak, yet it ended so easily. Li Hamming announced, all students in Group 1 passed the second stage exam. Second round, Group 4 versus Group 2. Group 4 wins. Next round, Group 8 versus Group 5. Enter the main grounds. I turned around only to find morale was low. We can't go on like this. I asked them if they were nervous. I know everyone is uneasy because the leader was replaced. I'm nervous too. But if we don't win here, we'll have to leave the Demonic Academy. It's far too early for that. We must reach the next level. Despicable cowards hurt our leader, trying to make us fail. We can't let their scheme succeed. If we are of one mind, we won't lose here today. We must win. So he knows how to boost morale. Is he the son of a tiger or just a stray cat? We'll see soon enough. Li Hamming announced the start. Tian Yuanli originally wanted to crush Tian Wujing's Group 8. Someone like you doesn't deserve the cult leader competition. For the sake of your pathetic life, you'd better leave the academy now. She ordered the attack. I called for Nano to activate AR vision, starting the instruction mode for formation coaching. I ordered the group to hold position. Tian Yuanli ordered formation number 2. The opponent shifted into a pointed arrow formation. Nano suggested switching to the fishtail formation. Just as expected, this has to be a head-on collision. I ordered formation number 6. All members, get behind me. Is he using the fishtail formation? Li Hamming thought to himself, I made a foolish choice from the very beginning. If the leader at the head has no martial power, the fishtail formation is meaningless. Was my expectation in vain? Tian Yuanli roared, you bastard. You still think you can take me? Her shield collided violently with me. An intense shockwave erupted. What's going on? This guy actually blocked a strike, carrying 50% of my internal energy, although my internal energy level is slightly inferior to Tian Yuanli's. With the addition of master-level external martial arts, I have the upper hand. That's exhilarating. The rear of the arrow formation is weak. If she doesn't change formations now, I'll definitely take her down. Tian Yuanli was forced to retreat. She commanded her group to shift to formation number 1. Commanded my group to switch to formation number 3. Tian Yuanli didn't believe the tactic used by the group 1 leader would work on her. Your internal energy is decent, but your tactics are a mess. Chun Yuan. She ordered another shift to formation number 6. With the fish scale formation, I can cut through that oblique line in one go. You bastard. The moment you're isolated, I'll finish you. But I simply smirked. The group members quickly scattered. Tian Yuanli was shocked. I had switched to the crane wing formation without warning. She quickly ordered her team not to panic and to guard against attacks from the flanks. I immediately directed the group to switch to formation number 2, using the pointed arrow formation here. In that case, watch the front. But they were surrounded on all sides. She didn't understand what that lowly bastard was doing. The formation was set instantly. It's a circular formation. Tian Yuanli finally realized. The numbers I called out were a smokescreen. This was the exact plan I had laid out last night. That lowlife. How dare he toy with me? Tian Yuanli. I commanded my group to suppress them. Overwhelmed by the pressure, they dropped their shields one by one. Tian Yuanli screamed at them. What are you doing? It's not like we have no chance left. But they remained silent. If it goes on like this, I'll be a laughingstock. Everyone will laugh at me. Chun Yuan, you bastard, just die. I cast aside my shield. I began to gather power in my sword, clashing violently with Tian Yuanli's blade. The second strike, the third, the fourth, and fifth. In the end, I won. Tian Yuanli couldn't believe it. My arm, her scream, echoed through the grounds. An instructor rushed over to stop the bleeding. I wondered if it was because this wasn't a real blade. Although I destroyed her bridge with the formless technique, I couldn't complete the final move. Training swords really have their limits. Li Hamming announced. All students in Group 8 passed the second stage exam. My group members swarmed around me in excitement. Li Hamming realized I was using the butterfly dance 7 chains. The technique itself was on par with Subrata. What exactly has that drunkard been doing? In just 21 days, he has achieved overwhelming growth in every aspect. Superb strategy and tactics, coupled with the decisiveness to take Tian Yuanli's arm. That is a talent of the highest caliber. A pity I'm the chief of the academy and cannot take him as a disciple. But Chun Yuan, you shouldn't be celebrating just yet. Because of what you did, you've essentially exposed your true abilities to everyone. Next up, Group 6 versus Group 7. The Group 6 leader was actually injured by my attack that night. Sharp pain shot through his side, taking advantage of the gap when he left the dorm. That bastard who crippled all his team members' legs. It was that damn guy. Chun Yuan. He was certain that my lack of martial arts all this time was just an act. Group 7 saw that everyone in Group 6 was limping. Thinking victory was guaranteed, they planned to dash boldly with formation number 6 to win. The Group 6 members also thought it was over because of their legs. They felt doomed. The leader, grimly determined, would make these guys thank him for the rest of their lives. He ordered the arrow formation, taking the very front himself. The Group 7 leader mocked them. What can a bunch of limping fools do with a formation? The Group 6 leader's eyes were cold as he glared at him. The two sides clashed instantly. The Group 6 leader easily sent the Group 7 leader's shield flying. Then, the sound of tearing flesh rang out. He roared for his team to push forward, using the Group 7 leader as a human shield to carve a path of blood. Under these circumstances, under their leader's command, Group 6 pressed their advantage, giving their opponents no chance to recover. Li Hamming had no idea who the leader of Group 6 even was. The leader's gaze suddenly shifted toward his next opponent. You're next. Damn it, Chun Yuan. I realized then that I had attracted a very troublesome enemy. The second stage exam soon came to an end. This time, the members of the high-ranking clans must feel quite aggrieved, since this was a group exam. Some skilled individuals were dragged down by their weak groups and failed. If the rankings weren't reassessed based on the performance of those who failed, the high-ranking clans would constantly protest to the chief. Regardless, those guys will grow stronger using their own family's martial arts. But for those from small to mid-sized clans, missing out on the academy's resources basically means their future is ruined. Anyway, those who passed the second stage should all be headed to the Library of Secrets now, right? Looking at the Library of Secrets before me, it feels even more magnificent than the main academy building. While I was in the infirmary, the other students had already visited the first floor. Are they going to the second floor today? My master told me that until the second stage exam was over, I shouldn't waste time on useless things. He said only by focusing on the butterfly blade and Wu Tianqi arts would my chances of passing increase. And the useless things he mentioned referred to the Library of Secrets. Because of my master, I'm already learning martial arts that would appear on the 4th or 5th floors. He proudly claimed that nothing on the first floor could compare to our sex techniques. But I have nano, so I'll try to skin both floors before leaving. This is the first time in my life I've seen so many books. I only have 2 hours on the first floor, so I must hurry. I had nano skin every book I flipped through. I could finish a whole book in just a few seconds. After scanning 50 books, I still had an hour left. I told Nano to store them for now, instead of transferring them to my brain immediately. It seems I've only looked at the outer shelves. Let's check the inner ones too. In the very center of the library stood a massive stone tablet. The warrior guarding the first floor looked like a formidable master. However, I didn't understand why a stone tablet was placed in the middle. The guardian warrior glanced at the medallion on my chest, the symbol of a candidate for the young cult leader. He suddenly spoke, explaining that this was the heavenly demon, the founder of our cult. This stone tablet was left by the founder. That was when I finally noticed. The writing on it looks like poetry. These markings completely blow my mind. I asked if these were carved with bare fingers. The guardian warrior confirmed it. For those with weak internal energy, even a sword can barely scratch this blue jade. But the founder channeled his energy into his hand and wrote all of this. Are most people too busy to even look at a book? Maybe it is because we share the same bloodline that I discovered the founder's great legacy. I said I almost missed it myself. To him, it was just common knowledge, even if it is ancestral poetry. Surrounded by so much blue jade, it just doesn't stand out. He has guarded this place for over 20 years and never saw anyone actually study this tablet, seeing that I had spent enough time there. He told me to go finish my business. I turned around but spotted something unusual. There were sharp marks on the other side, as if trying to hide something. I asked Soreo to analyze these marks. Soreo completed the analysis quickly. The results showed those marks were made by a sharp sword tip scraping the surface. I find it strange. Who would do such a freaking crazy thing to the founder's stone tablet? Soreo analyzed the depth of the grooves, determining the marks were left by 2 people. You can't tell at all with the naked eye. I had Soreo scan the sword marks and show them to me in 3D augmented reality. From the holographic projection, the strength of each strike and the angles were all over the place. The original marks were a complete mess. Was it to cover up the original sword technique? I told Soreo to keep the original engravings and wipe away all the messy sword marks. The initial sword marks were soon identified. My pupils shrunk in shock. These aren't just random scratches, but a sword move made of countless patterns. I still can't tell what move it is. I really lack the insight for this. I asked Soreo if he could analyze these marks and reconstruct the move through a 3D image to measure the force used. Soreo needs to know the hardness of the jade. The guardian warrior asked me suspiciously why I hadn't gone to read yet. The back of this tablet is a mess. Legend says it once contained the secret insights of the founder. Someone must have vandalized the back, maybe to keep the founder's secrets to themselves. Hearing his words, I wonder if this was really just simple damage. The guard went to do his rounds, telling me to look around as I please. The chance has finally come. Soreo told me to place my palm on the tablet to analyze the hardness of the blue jade. I felt a sharp sting in my palm. Soreo measured the hardness, setting the standard jade hardness at 7. Soreo reconstructed the sword marks based on that and brought the movements to life. Through a holographic image, I stood face to face with the figure. I was about to ask who he was, but Soreo noted that two-way dialogue is not supported. The sword marks are now being displayed. I'm amazed at how incredible this power is. The golden figure's sword recreated the old marks with unbelievable speed. My voice trembled as I asked if this was one move. Soreo analyzed it. All the movements were connected, based on the martial arts I've learned. It is indeed a single move. How is that even possible? The butterfly dance technique has 8 forms. It took Master 6 months to master it. It was so complex, but this ultimate move is beyond comparison. It's impossible to defeat. I didn't expect much from the first floor library. I can't believe I found such an opportunity. I quickly told Soreo to save the move for later review. I don't know who was so freaking malicious, but thanks to them, I found this. I've acquired this sword move. Should I actually thank that person? Soreo analyzed the messy sword marks that were wiped from the holographic image and discovered 45 sword moves linked by specific motions. I stopped dead in my tracks as I was about to leave. They weren't just meant to cover up the original. They're all sword moves. I quickly had Soreo display the 45 moves in sequence using the holographic projection. Here's the first move, the second, the third, the 10th, the 20th. By the 30th move, I was shocked to find that these techniques were gradually reaching perfection. Soreo ended the holographic display. I was drenched in sweat just from watching. I asked Soreo, can you make the first move we saved duel against these 45 moves via the holographic projection? A moment later, 3 figures stood facing each other. Soreo activated the projection in duel mode. 2 walls and some insane silhouettes began to fight. I was fully focused, observing every single form they used. In the end, the green figure that appeared later won. That first move I thought was perfect was broken by a single flaw. This wasn't just about erasing the previous marks. Those 45 sword marks were a long-term research process aimed at defeating that ultimate move. I politely asked the guardian warrior if blue jade was only on the first floor. He said he heard there's some on every floor. Great. I can't wait to get to the second floor. All the students are still on the second floor because the reading time there is an hour longer than on the first floor. I noticed Tion Lucan from the Blade Demon clan, one of the 6 sects, was actually here. The other minor cult leader. Candidates don't even come here because they trust their own sex arts too much. I thought to myself that I need to be extra careful with this guy. I tiptoed toward the center of the second floor library. As expected, there was a stone tablet here too. I had Soreo analyze the sword marks here, just like on the first floor. Soreo detected the original sword marks, consisted of a 24 form technique, with the marks left by others later. There were 56 forms in total. It seems they did even more research here to defeat the original move compared to the first floor. I wanted to check it right away, but it was impossible with everyone watching. I had Soreo extract and save all the moves. I can't believe I just got 4 legendary techniques. I'm really looking forward to imprinting them into my mind and body. Focusing on the task, the crowd of students was distracted by a strange noise. I was just flipping through every book and putting them back. They probably couldn't even memorize them while sitting still. Only half an hour left. No time to worry about that guy. Got to focus. I closed another book. Soreo notified me that the scan was complete. Tion Lucan of the Blade Demon clan watched this and gave a dismissive smirk. So far, 156 books have been scanned. Next up is the experience my master emphasized so much. Using Soreo's augmented reality, if things go as planned, I can gain a lot more diverse combat experience. I heard that after the second stage exam, the personal training rooms will be fully open. I can't wait to go and transfer those legendary moves. A voice suddenly blocked my path. Is this guy the leader of the leg breakers? I asked him what he wanted. He asked me gloomily, are you playing dumb? You think I wouldn't guess? The guy who messed up all my team members' legs was you. Judging by the murderous look on his face, he seems to want to settle this right here. I provocatively asked, who let you leave? He calmly replied, and whose fault is that? Unlike some people, he doesn't fall for cheap provocation. This guy is no pushover. I'll have to handle him carefully. A voice called out to us. As I faced off with this guy, I completely ignored it. The person sighed. You're really not going to give me the time of day, huh? And stepped right into the middle of the standoff. I is Tion Lucan from the Blade Demon clan. He smiled and offered a compliment. The team leaders who passed the second stage really are something else. He told the Group 6 leader he had been waiting a long time and asked to have me for himself first. He even cupped his fists in a respectful gesture. The Group 6 leader didn't expect a young cult leader candidate to bow to another student, but he had also been looking for me all day, so he refused to step aside for Tion Lucan. Tion Lucan wondered what he should do. He had waited specifically for this encounter for so long. Feeling disrespected, the Group 6 leader launched an attack instantly. Tion Lucan countered immediately, finishing the counter kill in a split second. He asked the Group 6 leader how it felt. He broke a move he'd never seen before, using the simplest possible form. Is that guy really that freaking strong? The Group 6 leader couldn't believe he was taken down by someone who wasn't even in a proper stance. Tion Lucan saw him lose his balance and wondered if his ribs were injured. The Group 6 leader knew then. This guy was far beyond a typical student's level. Tion Lucan patted his shoulder and told him to just wait a moment. Without a word, the leader turned and left. What does this guy want with me? Is he planning a preemptive strike? Regardless, I can't handle him with just my own power. I had Soreo activate augmented reality and set the combat tutorial to the 5th blade. Tion Lucan asked me kindly, why are you so guarded? Though from your perspective, it's only natural, but don't be so paranoid. It's the first meeting between half-brothers. It's good to see you. Brothers? The word brother was far too foreign to me. I was furious that he was messing with me. Tion Lucan realized he was being a bit annoying. Since the 6 clans have given you a hard time, it's understandable you'd act like this. I demanded, if you know that, did you really expect me to be nice to you? But he said, I just wanted our first meeting to be peaceful. He said he liked me, because we are both blade wielders. When he saw me cut that kid's arm in the Blade Shadow group, he was seriously impressed. I've become your #1 supporter, brother. I snapped at him to stop the nonsense and tell me his real purpose. The atmosphere between us turned freezing cold. He sighed, saying it seemed getting along would take time. Straight to the point then, brother, come join the Blade Demon clan. I was stunned for a moment and asked if he was serious. He had waited outside the secret library until now just to tell me this. He wasn't joking. He didn't care what the others thought. But he didn't want to cut me down as an enemy. He wanted me in his clan, by his side. I questioned him. Are you telling me to give up the race for young cult leader? He didn't expect me to see it that way, but it's impossible for you anyway. If you continue with the blade, you'll definitely clash with me. There's no chance of survival. But if we work together in one direction, your path will be smooth. Doesn't that sound great? And he calls that not treating me as an enemy? I rejected him without hesitation. He glanced at me and asked why. How about I give you a proposal instead? It would be hard for your side to accept me anyway. Just don't block my path. Then I'll let you live. The air between us completely froze. Soreo detected the enemy gathering massive energy in his right arm. Step left to dodge the attack. Then counter with the second move of the butterfly blade. Is it about to go down? I reacted instantly. Tion Lucan was stunned. Then he burst out laughing. Soreo detected the massive energy gathered in his right arm was fading. He was ticked off for a second, but then he found it pretty funny. What a total waste of time. If you and I walked the same path, we'd definitely be at each other's throats. Soreo detected the enemy gathering powerful energy in his right arm again. It was a piercing, nameless pressure. I stared at Tian Lucan, unable to believe that was actually Blade Chi. He scoffed. With that level of skill, you're a long way from taking my life. Being able to release Blade Chi with bare hands means he has reached a state of pure mastery. The rumors about him and Tian Wuyan fighting for the young cult leader title weren't just talk after all. We're on different levels, huh? See you next time, brother. After defeating Tian Wujing and kicking Tian Yuanli out of the Demon Academy, I thought I was finally on their level. But I can't rush this. Tian Ryu's goal isn't to catch up to them. It's to stand far above them. Tian Lucan thought back to what just happened. He realized I had seen his attack coming. Even though he wanted to take my arm in one go, I had already dodged the trajectory before he even released the Blade Chi. He thought, he's definitely not like those other freaking nobodies. I went to the private training room at the academy. It was a square about 7 feet wide. This wasn't nearly enough space to practice footwork or major moves. However, the stone walls were quite thick, meaning I could train without anyone bothering me. I had Soreo activate augmented reality to project the moves from the second floor tablet using a holographic image. These were much faster than the first floor moves and far more complex. Even if I used the ultimate butterfly blade techniques, I couldn't block a single strike. Next were the sword marks left by the later person. All 56 moves appeared perfectly before my eyes. Damn, this is intense. If you don't practice the sword, you can't pull these off. What started as awkward, unnatural moves became breathtakingly perfect by the 56th form. I had Soreo run a sparring session between the different moves. The moves added later eventually won. Just like on the first floor, the original legendary techniques were broken by a single variation. I suddenly had a brilliant idea. If I used the butterfly blade against these moves, those later sword moves couldn't block a single legendary technique at first either. I couldn't hold back. I closed my eyes. Let's test this out. There was clearly a way to use the butterfly blade to counter them. Two MES began to spar. We launched our moves at the exact same time. Soreo detected the user's brain cells being rapidly activated. The resulting energy cycle stimulated the body's pressure points. The user's raw energy was awakened and was constantly increasing. A powerful internal energy swirled around me. My eyes snapped open. I was confused about what just happened. I was supposed to be immersed in the holographic duel, but I had unknowingly slipped into a deep meditation. My body felt strange. A possibility instantly crossed my mind. My internal energy had increased by a full 10 years. Did I just achieve enlightenment? I reached it even without Soreo's help. I knew it. Those moves really are the pinnacle of martial arts. For some reason, it feels like I can use the butterfly blade much better now. It feels different from the empty swings of before. Enlightenment doesn't just boost your internal energy. Have I turned energy into form now? My energy isn't quite enough yet, so the blade hasn't fully formed. But if I absorb the demon dragon pill I got this time, I'll have 60 years of internal energy. If that happens, the gap between me and Tian Lucan will shrink significantly. Soreo informed me that I had been in a state of trance-like meditation for 2 hours. It was almost time to return to the quarters. I wouldn't have enough time for the physical transfer. I instructed Soreo to transfer the original moves from the first and second floors, along with the 45th and 46th supplementary moves, into my brain first. I asked Soreo, how long will the physical body transfer take? Based on the analysis, remodeling the muscle fibers and meridians will require 10 hours. I had no choice but to come out early tomorrow. I returned to the quarters and noticed some people still hadn't come back from the private training rooms. Su Feng greeted me respectfully. After finishing his shift at the secret library, he had also been practicing in a private room, training hard. I asked him if he had found anything good. He replied that it was just some second-rate martial arts, but since he wasn't good at hand-to-hand combat, he had previewed one such manual. At a time like this, everyone was striving. Even though we were given 3 days of rest, one couldn't afford to waste a single second to get ahead. The next day, around 4 p.m., I finally completed the reconstruction of my muscle fibers and meridians. Soreo deactivated the anesthesia. A wave of intense nausea hit me. Soreo began to mitigate the internal side effects caused by the physical transformation. I finally felt like I was coming back to life. The power in my hands was completely different now, compared to when I learned the butterfly blade. This was night and day. I felt incredibly powerful. I took off my shirt. My muscles were exceptionally developed. It didn't even feel like my own body. I stared at the wall in front of me and began to gather strength in my hand. In the room next door, the Group 6 leader was training. He realized that after wounding Tian Wujing, he had become too arrogant. Now that he'd felt the vast gap between him and that guy, he had to train even harder to regain his honor. First, he had to completely forget about unimportant things like Tian Ryu and set a much bigger goal. Suddenly, the wall beside him shattered. Everyone outside the training rooms was startled. The powerful impact slammed directly into the caught-off-guard Group 6 leader. He couldn't believe it. An assassin? Who could be so bold? Who was it? It was that damn kid, Tian Ryu. The instructor severely reprimanded my actions. Be glad student 108 is still alive. Otherwise, you'd be expelled from the academy. This incident will affect your evaluation. Just so you know. From now on, you can only use the underground rooms. If you break another one, you'll never use a training room again. I sincerely promise to be careful. The instructor watched my back, lost in thought. He actually punched through a wall reinforced with high-grade stone. That kid's internal energy has already reached an extraordinary level. I also asked in confusion, Soreo, why has my power become so immense? Soreo stated, in order to leave marks on blue jade stone through physical attacks, your muscle fibers and meridians were pushed to the body's absolute limit. Unlike the dagger art and butterfly blade transfers, which used perfect movement as the benchmark, this one used the ability to scar blue jade as the new standard. Soreo made slight adjustments to the power level to avoid affecting my height growth. Once the body is fully matured, the limits of transformation will be even higher. Time is the only answer. With Soreo's current capabilities, besides growth stimulation, there is no other way to increase the master's height.